Hey guys, ladies and gentlemen, Harry Thomas here, and welcome to a very special and long ranking indeed. My ranking of the X-Men movies. Now, the X-Men franchise is one of the most special, most important, and longest running superhero sagas of all time. It's had a very interesting history and road with the direction it's going and some continuity errors, lol. But overall, it's a great series which will stay with me forever. So without further ado, I will be starting with my least favorite and working my way up to the top with my favorite. Now, of course, this is just my opinion, so if you disagree with me in any part of the ranking, I totally respect your opinions, and I'll be looking forward to hearing your guys' ranking in the comments below. So without further ado, let's start off with the worst and work our way up to the best. This will include all 10 movies in the saga. Yes, I have included Deadpool, you won't be disappointed, so let's get to it. At number 10, are you even surprised? X-Men Origins Wolverine. Oh, fuck. Let's get this over with. Well, people who hate on The Last Stand, I really beg to differ. At least The Last Stand has a somewhat compelling story and great action and incredible moments. This pile of wank has none of that. It's a disgrace to this series. It's the lowest low the series has ever gotten. The story is the worst. The effects are the worst. The action are totally boring and forgettable. The story had great ideas of Wolverine accidentally killing his father and fighting in the war. That's the you should have got, but they just flashed by it in a fucking montage for a boring revenge story that leads nowhere. And just, this movie's fucking boring. I was, throughout the entire running time, I was just going, not only that, but characters like Gambit and Emma Frost do jack shit. They totally ruined the Blob, and especially fucking up Deadpool. Oh my gosh, Deadpool was the worst. Thank God they apologised with Deadpool's solo movie. But the only redeeming qualities of this movie is Sabretooth got a little bit more character here, and at least Hugh Jackman tries as Wolverine, but other than that, this shit absolutely sucks, and I am proud to call Origins Wolverine the worst movie of the X-Men franchise. Oh dear, you guys are not gonna like me for this. At number 9, second least favourite, the Wolverine. Please don't hurt me. I know, you're pissed off that I'm putting this below The Last Stand, but the Wolverine for me is one of the more good but by the numbers X-Men movies. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a far better movie than Origins, but that really isn't saying much when you compare Origins to anything. I mean, at least the story's actually interesting this time. Hugh Jackman gives a much better performance here, as the script gives him a better, more personal story, and him dealing with the grief of having to stab Jean at the end of The Last Stand was so compelling and made us sympathise with him even more. Though Marketo was a kick-ass, but she really didn't need to be a love interest. That was so forced. And Viper, she was smoking hot, but although she did kind of feel like Marvel's representation of Poison Ivy from Batman and Robin, and she really could have contributed more. And Yashinda was very interesting, how he had a very personal connection to Logan, and in a plot twist, he turned out to be the Silver Samurai. Yeah, the Japanese setting is beautiful, and it's much better paced than Origins, and yeah, although the third act of the film is probably the weakest part, and where the climax did go on a bit too long. But other than that, the Wolverine far from a masterpiece, but a decent effort and second best in the Wolverine/Logan trilogy. I'm prepared for the hate comments at number 8, X-Men: The Last Stand. I'm sorry guys, but I don't think The Last Stand is nearly as bad as people make it out to be. It has actually an interesting story with the concept of the cure, and the action scenes are incredible, particularly the Jean Grey house fight, the Magneto moving the Golden Gate Bridge, and its climax, and for Mate Jansen, the best performance in the series as Jean Grey, yes, and seeing Logan struggle to terms with how Jean's changed was really compelling. Charles Xavier's death was powerful, and yeah, this movie is ballsy to kill off just three of its main characters, and although I'm not saying The Last Stand is a perfect film, far from it. I mean, the movie favours action over story and character, which is what the first two X-Men movies did better. Brett Ratner was not particularly the right director for the job. Bryan Singer should have totally directed it, and just many characters go to waste in this film, like Cyclops did fuck all, and what was the point of Angel in this movie? You could have totally removed him. So yeah, Last Stand, not perfect but underrated all the same. At number 7, this may surprise some of you, the first X-Men movie ever that started it all, X-Men. Bryan Singer, he's the man. He gave a whole new respect to the genre of comic book movies with this movie. I love the themes of prejudice. The cast is absolutely perfect, with Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and Anna Paquin. Yeah, Rogue is really interesting, how she's just innocent but accidentally harms her boyfriend with her powers, and her relationship with Wolverine is great and really sweet. And yeah, although the action that doesn't really happen until the third act, it's still great. So the effects still look good even today. Even though they may be slightly dated, and although the score isn't that memorable, it will do. The score definitely improved with each installment of the series. So yeah, X-Men was the real game changer for comic book movies for its time, and still to this date, pretty darn underrated. At number 6, the first of the rebooted X-Men trilogy, X-Men First Class. This movie officially saved the X-Men franchise. Matthew Vaughn may not be Bryan Singer, but he's the second best, among the best directors for this series, along with James Mangold. Now, this movie was the right prequel to start out the formation of the X-Men, which is superbly executed. I love seeing how Charles and Eric became enemies. Magneto's backstory was done even better here than it was in the original X-Men. The effects are great. The action sequences are so awesome, though there could be a bit more of them. January Jones hot as Emma Frost. Kevin Bacon surprisingly decent as the villain Sebastian, and the climax on the beach and the formation of the X-Men just epic and powerful. So yeah, First Class was the most surprising X-Men movie in the series. At number 5, we can all agree the best of the original X-Men trilogy, XMen II, at its time one of the greatest comic book sequels ever made, and still is to this day. It steps up everything from the first movie. Bryan Singer's direction is at his most confident here, and the performances here are even better. The action sequences here are so much better, especially the Nightcrawler one and Logan's fight with Deathstrike, and the climax by the lake. Oddly enough, this movie is a better origin story than the actual origins, as my good subscriber and friend Mr. TARDIS11 pointed out. Yeah, the climax of this movie just epic and heart-wrenching, and it did the themes of prejudice here even better, and it ended perfectly, and really sad with Jean's sacrifice, and it's altogether, as still to this day, an excellent comic book sequel. Number 4 on my list is none other than the movie that saved this character, Deadpool. Finally, a great representation of Deadpool. What a saving grace, what a miracle. Ryan Reynolds is the only actor that had ever played Deadpool ever. Even loved his love interest. They had great chemistry. The movie's story is very simplistic. It's a revenge plot to save your loved one, but it's executed so well. The R rating is awesome. The action is so violent, bloody, and brutal. Deadpool has classic one-liners. The villain Ajak is actual legitimate threats, and even love the soundtrack for Deadpool. So yeah, Deadpool are the best comic book and movies ever made, and it easily in my top 10 favorite movies of 2016. Now we're in the top three, which these final three are absolutely perfect for me. The number three, what many would consider the best X-Men movie and best of the rebooted trilogy, Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past is a fucking fabulous X-Men movie. It's even better than the surprise that was First Class in every way. It combines the old and the new. The action is absolutely spectacular. It has some of the best effects of the series, and the Quicksilver scene is just one of the best X-Men scenes they ever could have possibly come up with. Bryan Singer returns, and he is back truly with a bang. And he is so confidently directs this movie, and yeah, it even gave Mystique a very personal story, and the moment when she spares Trask is so emotionally powerful, and I even like Peter Dinklage in this movie. Yeah, Game of Thrones actor in X-Men would be cool. So yeah, Days of Future Past, it's absolutely fantastic. It's up there. Now, number two on the list, a lot of you are going to disagree with me on this one, but this is my opinion. X-Men Apocalypse, in my mind, the best of the rebooted X-Men trilogy, and it was before Logan my absolute favourite. Just the opening in ancient Egypt was absolutely epic, and to see the origin of the world's most powerful mutant was just so astonishing. I finally we have the X-Men movies don't have the best villains, so finally we have an awesome X-Men villains. Enzar Apocalypse, played excellently by Oscar Isaac. The makeup in this movie as well as underrated. They brilliantly brought him to life. The cast is still phenomenal, with Sophie Turner really surprising me as Jean Grey, and McAvoy and Fassbender give their best performances, in my opinion, in this trilogy, and the Quicksilver scene here tops even the one from Days of Future Past. The action probably some of the best in the series. The final battle, one of the defining moments of the X-Men series, especially epic moment when Jean unleashes the Phoenix on Apocalypse. And even Magneto had his best storyline in this series, in this film. It was so devastating and engaging to see what they did with him. So yeah, Apocalypse is an underrated masterpiece, and it would be number one if not for the latest final installment of the Wolverine trilogy. And number one, you just knew this was going to be number one. By far the best of the Wolverine trilogy and best X-Men movie, in my opinion, Logan. Oh my gosh, Logan, I'm going to remember this movie for the rest of my life. It just ended this magnificent comic book series, and just perfectly. James Mangold's direction far superior to his direction from the Wolverine. The R rating and the darker, more grittier tone of this movie was hit the nail on the head. It's just awesome. We're seeing the action get more bloody and gory. This is exactly what we've all wanted to see, and finally they're delivering us a more adult comic book movie than for the kids. And Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart and Daphne Keane all give easily Oscar-worthy performances. We say goodbye to a lot of characters in this movie which you don't expect, and yeah, if you see Logan, you will get a big sense of satisfaction. So yeah, I am proud to call Logan the best movie of the X-Men franchise. It's funny how Logan is less CGI heavy and has the smallest amount of characters in the series, yet somehow feels like the most epic. Well, I probably won't be putting this on anytime soon. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this ranking, and please stay tuned on my channel, because I will be reviewing both the 1933 and 2005 Peter Jackson King Kong movies in anticipation of a Kong Skull Island, as well as my review of the original 1991 Beauty and the Beast before I review the 2017 remake, as unnecessary as I think it looks. And what's your ranking of the X-Men movies? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. I love getting new subscribers, making new friends and talking to you guys about movies. Really appreciate that. Please follow me on Twitter and on Google+, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.